Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another episode of Bake the Book, the series where I bake recipes from my favorite cookbooks to see if they're really worth the hype. I baked the Caramel Cornflake Brownie from the Crumbs Doilies book this week. And at first it sounded amazing. I mean, a rich fudgy brownie topped with a crunchy caramel topping. Who wouldn't love that? But let's just say that things didn't go quite as I had planned. Here's what you need to make this recipe. All the basic brownie ingredients. So we're talking sugar, eggs, chocolate, butter, flour, cocoa powder, and a pinch of salt. And you're gonna need all the bits for the homemade caramel. So it's sugar, double cream, and butter. And of course, you're gonna need the cornflakes for the cornflake topping. At first, everything seemed pretty straightforward. I started with the brownie base, so you melt your chocolate with your butter, you whisk your eggs and your sugar, you add the melted butter and the chocolate into the whisked eggs, and then you add all your dry ingredients. It came together really nicely and it baked up without any issues. Once the brownies were baked and I let them fully cool down, it was time for me to make the caramel topping. But this is where things start to go a little sideways. I followed the instructions to make the caramel to the letter, but things just were not working. The flavor wasn't right, and I've made caramel a dozen times. It had a bit of a burnt aftertaste, and it didn't look right. Also worth to note is the caramel itself didn't look overcooked, but it tasted very bitter and overcooked. Maybe it's the proportions, maybe it's the method, but the recipe just did not work for me. After that, the caramel is stirred into the caramel. You need to really stir everything together to make sure that every single piece of cornflake is topped with the caramel. And now you need to spread that over your cooled brownies. At this stage, I was really hopeful that the overall texture and taste would just go amazingly well together. Once the caramel cornflake mixture is on top of the brownies, you need to let it set fully in the fridge. Now, I am not a fan of putting brownies in the fridge. I've never done it, I never do it, and I don't think I'm gonna do it again, to be honest with you. It's just not the type of thing that I like. I find that the brownies get way too hard and the texture just isn't it. But I wanted to follow the recipe to the letter, so I did as I was told. Once I took it out of the fridge and I started cutting into it, I noticed that the proportions were off. There was way too much brownies and not enough cornflake topping. Visually, it didn't look anything like the picture that's shown in the book. I will spare you the taste test this week because I've already tried them, and to be honest, I'm not too keen on going in for another bite. The brownies themselves are not my cup of tea. They were too dense, cold, and just not a brownie. And now you combine that with the caramel topping that's already not great, and the results just didn't work for me. It did not come together the way I had hoped. There was way too much brownie, and as you can see in the picture, the brownie layer is almost half the size as the one that I made. Now, I did check to make sure that I used the right amounts, I used the right pan, everything was to the letter as per what the book instructed me to do. So yeah, this one was a bit of a miss, but I wanted to show it to you guys anyways because I want to be 100%. So yeah, there you have it. This recipe was a bit of a miss for me. However, I always want to be honest with you, so I wanted to share it anyways and give you my honest and transparent thoughts. And I do love trying new recipes, but not all of them can be winners. I would love to try making this recipe again, but put my own twist on it because, I mean, it still sounds delicious to me. The fudgy brownie, crunchy caramel cornflake topping sounds perfect, but with a different recipe. If you've made this recipe and had a better experience than I did, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you would like to see me remake this recipe, subscribe and give this video a like. And I will see you next week for another video. Thank you so much for watching.